Good morning, Spartans. It's Mrs. Hoover and Mrs. Eck here. We are your school counselors, and we wanted to continue talking about yesterday's topic, which was ethical decision making and social responsibility. You got a chance to preview some of these ideas with the video yesterday, and we're going to teach you a little bit more about them today. So, what we want you to do is take a moment and think about what these terms might mean. So you can discuss your ideas with a partner and then come up with your own definitions. And we want you to make sure you write down your thoughts on the worksheet that you should have in front of you. And also be prepared to share your definitions with the class in the end. Teachers, go ahead and pause the video now. So what is ethical decision making? Ethical decision making is the process of thinking about life's choices. You must consider what most people view as right and wrong. So, simply put, ethical decision making is making the right choice. Now, it's hard to talk about this without acknowledging that the terms right and wrong can be tricky here. Society has general expectations about what's right and what's wrong, but different cultures and different environments might have different expectations. For example, at home, you may yell across your house a lot. Your family might end up being louder or shouting across the room, and that's pretty normal. But here at school, we always talk about making sure our voices are quiet and we follow the noise expectations in the hallway, in the cafeteria, and in the classroom. But we need to speak about those general rules of right and wrong when we're talking about ethical decision making. So on your worksheet, take a moment to write down the real definition of ethical decision making, but write it in your own words. Teachers, pause the video so students can independently write down the definition for ethical decision making. Now we're going to talk for a moment about steps for making ethical decisions. You have 4 steps when it's time to think about making a choice between right and wrong and ethical decisions. The first step would be to stop and think, then consider consequences, then you're going to make a choice, and in the end, you would want to reflect. When you stop and think, you want to recognize the decisions to be made. You typically have an ethical decision that could be made versus an impulsive decision. That's sometimes the easy decision. For the man in the video, when he found the wallet, he had to make a hard decision. What hard decision did he have to make, and what were his choices? Teachers, take a moment to pause the video and let a student in your class share his or her thoughts. In the video, the man had 2 options. He had to decide whether he should keep the wallet or return the wallet. When it's time to consider consequences, you have to remember that all behaviors have consequences, both good and bad. So in a situation, you need to consider all outcomes. What are the good and bad consequences for each choice you make? Teachers, take a moment to ask your class, what choices and consequences did you see in the video? Hopefully somebody realized that the man had the choice between taking the wallet and returning it. If he stole the wallet, he might get some money, and that's a consequence, but he also could fall into legal trouble and have a guilty conscience. If he returned the wallet, this could make him feel very good about himself and his choices. This would not only make him happy, but it would also make the man who lost his wallet happy. The next step is choosing. So now that you've thought about the decisions, you've thought about the consequences, now it's time to choose. You have to make the ethical decision that has the most positive consequences. It's important to think about everyone in the situation. So you're not just thinking about the positive consequences for yourself, but you're thinking about the positive consequences for everyone else in the situation. Teachers, take a moment to have a student in your class talk about the video and the choice that was made. In the video, we all saw that the man decided the best decision for himself and the stranger who lost his wallet was to return the wallet. The final step is reflecting, And this might be the most important step. After you make a choice, you need to consider if it was the right choice or the wrong one and how you felt about it and how others felt. This step is particularly important if you ever find yourself in a situation where you might have made a wrong choice. Sometimes we learn the most from our mistakes. So when we reflect, we can look back and think about what we might have done differently. Teachers, take a moment to pause the video to let a student in your class talk about the decision that was made in the video. While we don't know, we can assume that the man probably felt really great about his decision, and he knew he made the right decision for the other man involved. In the end of this video, he was also rewarded for his good deed, which also probably made him feel great in this situation. Take a moment on your own to think about a time when you had to make a hard decision, a time when you were torn between right and wrong choices. Describe the situation, your choice, and how you feel about your choice now. Teachers, please pause the video to give students time to answer the question.
Okay, now we're going to move on to the idea of social responsibility. If we break down those words, social means, our interaction with the people in the world around us. And responsibility means taking ownership of something yourself. So when we want to define social responsibility is the understanding that our actions affect the people in our school community, our local community, and our world. So now I want everyone to, on your worksheet, write what you understand social responsibility to be in your own words. Teachers, pause the video to give students a moment to do this. Okay, so there's kind of two different levels of social responsibility. One way we can choose to be responsible or take ownership in our interactions with others is by just simply choosing not to do hurt or harm to others. That would be the first level when we think about what the responsible choice is in any given situation. And the next level of responsibility, social responsibility, is to choose to be socially responsible, to purposely choose acts that benefit other individuals and groups in our community and world. So that's going beyond just not doing harm, but we're actually choosing something that will benefit or help someone else. So two different levels there. So when we think about do no harm, I'm going to think about the example of, let's say you come into your classroom and there's a substitute teacher in the room. And maybe this is someone that's new to Schmuckers, you've never seen them before, or maybe it's a sub that you know has had trouble in a class that you were in before. So the first choice you could make is to simply do no harm in that situation. And you can just refuse to be a part of the problem. I always tell students that when there's a substitute teacher in the room, really your number one responsibility is to be anonymous or not call any attention to yourself for any reason. So that would be one level of social responsibility in that situation, is to just not be part of the problem. A higher level of social responsibility would be to actually choose a helpful action. So not everyone in any situation can be helpful, but if called upon or if the opportunity would actually seem appropriate for you, you could actually do something that was going to be part of the solution to the problem or help another person or another group. So maybe there's a substitute teacher in that room and you could be a person that would offer help of how to turn a projector on or how to explain to them how you might normally have done things when a teacher's there. Again, not everyone can be offering help at the same time. That would just create chaos. But if you feel like in that opportunity, in that moment, you have opportunity to be helpful, then that would be a good choice in that moment. So on your worksheet now, I want you to think about a time when you made a choice that positively affected other people in your school or your community. Teachers, pause the video and give the students a moment to do that. Okay, so when we bring this together as our school community here, we have, we have our SMS motto, and your teachers several years ago sat down to create this SMS motto. And when we think about it, there's actually definitely some ethical decision making and social responsibility components of our motto. When we talk about showing respect, there's really an ethical decision that you're making moment by moment, day by day, in every situation. There's a right way to treat authority by our words and actions and by following expectations. And there's a right way to treat our peers with respect. And then when we go to the make a difference, really that's kind of social responsibility there in understanding that our choices impact others and we can be conscious of doing good and making others feel good here at Schmucker. And that's what we mean by making a difference. And then set the bar high, that's more of a personal responsibility that we can all just hold ourselves accountable to being the very best that we can be. So teachers, if there's any time left at this point, we'd like students to take a moment to create their own SMS motto. So you can demonstrate your understanding of ethical decision making and social responsibility by coming up with your own SMS motto of what that looks like. Remember that the phrases show respect, make a difference, and set the bar high, those are off limits. Those are already taken. So this is just your time to be creative and also show that you understand a little bit more today about how to be a person who makes ethical decisions and is socially responsible.
A big thank you from your Schmucker counselors. We appreciate you guys' attention for the last 2 days, and we hope that you take a moment in your life here at Schmucker and at home to show your ethical decision making and social responsibility to those around you. Have a great day.